What is up, my furry amigos? Welcome back to the channel for another Black Ops 6 Zombies guide. What I have for you guys today is how to obtain and upgrade the Ice Staff on the Tomb. I'm not a big fan of this side quest simply because I feel like it's very unbalanced, especially when you're doing it in co-op. Unfortunately, this side quest does require a little bit of setup. I would recommend you guys having the Augment Energy Mine turret for Energy Mine, as well as the Double Charge turret. This setup will come in handy later for a particular step in the quest. But let's go ahead and get started with what we need to do. The first thing to do is go all the way over to this pedestal right here and insert the amulet. Once we have inserted the amulet, go through that specific door. If you don't go through this door specifically, we won't get the setup required for the Ice Staff. Once we have gone through the red door, exit the Dark Aether back into the mainland, and we need to flip to round 8. On round 8, we are looking for our special enemy, the Shock Mimic. The first Shock Mimic we kill will drop us this monocle. That is part number 1. For part number 2 and 3 is the fun part of getting the Ice Staff. There are several etheric lanterns around the tomb. Luckily, these lanterns are set up by room and only move through a specific room area. So the rooms we need to worry about are going to be the room with Death Perception and the area with Dead Shot. With these lanterns in mind that we need to shooting it will move it to a separate spot, and we need to land them in these specific spots. This lantern needs to be right here, and then this lantern needs to be right here with the crafting table. Doing so, you'll see a mural appear on this wall with Roman numeral symbols. This one will have 1 through 10, and then this one will have 1 through 8. What we need to do is simply shoot each of the individual Roman numerals in order from 1 through 10 on the 1 through 10 one and the 1 through 8 on the other one. If you shoot a symbol out of order, all the symbols will flash red for a brief moment, but then they'll go back to their original color, giving you a chance to shoot the correct one in the sequence. Here's what 1 looks like. Here's what 2 looks like. Here's what 3 looks like. Here's what 4 looks like. Here's what 5 looks like. Here's what 6 looks like. Here's what 7 looks like. Here's what 8 looks like. Here's what 9 looks like. And then finally, you're left with 10. For each individual section, once you shot each of the symbols in order, your screen is going to flash white, and you'll be set into a set of lockdowns. 1 lockdown with 5 phases. Each lockdown will have increase in difficulty with each enemy type. So the first wave is just going to be vermin and parasites. Second wave is going to be those plus the Shock Mimic. Third wave is going to be the vermin and parasites plus the Doppelgast. And then the fourth one's going to be both Doppelgast and Mimic and the vermin and parasites. And then the last one's going to double the Shock Mimics and Doppelgast. That goes for both in each individual area. Where the orb transfers to is always going to be random, but there will be all those 5 lockdowns I mentioned, and on top of that, the third one will always give you a max armor, and then the 5th one will always give you a max ammo. On top of the 5th one, once the 5th one's complete, you'll be granted a piece of the Ice Staff for both lockdowns. To finally put this staff together, we need to go into the Dark Aether. At this point, I'd recommend having 2 things. 1, having Energy Mine turrets, and 2, having a Casimir. Once we've Once we've crafted our Casimir and have 2 Energy Mine turrets at the hand, go ahead and go to the middle altar in the Dark Aether and interact with the center. Doing so will start a lockdown. Archibald and the Amulet will do a lot of yapping, but what's going to happen is that there are going to be a ton of zombies that spawn in, zombies, vermin, and parasites. Put down the 2 Energy Mine turrets right away. It has to be after there's white flash, not before, because if it's before, the turrets will disappear. During the process, you're going to hear the wall behind the staff making a very loud noise. This will grow louder and louder over time. This is the wall charging up the staff in a way. Halfway through this sequence, I would like you guys to throw your Casimir on the floor so we can get all the zombies off the staff for the moment being. Once the Casimir is done, you should have at least 5 to 10 seconds defending the staff alone without anything, because the turrets don't last that long with the double charge. But once the screen flashes white once again, you're going to hear a little sound. I don't know how to describe it. But you hear that little mystical sound, and then moments later you'll be able to pick up the staff. If you fail to protect the staff for long enough and loses all its health, don't worry. you can always flip the round to try again. Now, since we have the staff in hand, let's go ahead and start off with the upgrade. To start the upgrade, we need to manhandle our etheric lanterns again. I say the term manhandle loosely, we're quite literally freezing all the flames, but the problem is the alignment and the amount of time. You need to freeze only 3 etheric lanterns within 10 seconds. I'm telling you, this time is not a joke. It is very strict on how fast you need to do this, and it's really annoying. There are 3 total passages that you guys can do. 1, take the path all the way to Deadshot, from Deadshot down to the red door.
Extinguish the flames, close the crystal.
B, take the room of depth perception, take that all the way down to the red door.
Extinguish the flames, close the crystals.
Or C, keep the red door as the middleman with all those etheric lanterns in there, and just use the yellow room and the speed cola room as the other 2 torches. My best suggestion, if you want to do that, make sure the lantern is one of the 4 lanterns in front of the red door, not the 2 towards Quick Revive. That way you can get your etheric lantern frozen in time. Once we freeze all 3 within a 10-second window, Archibald's going to start talking again, and then we need to go into the Dark Aether. What we're looking for now are 3 pink symbols that are going to spawn in on the rocks above you. The problem is there are 8 total spawns. I'm going to go through each of them going by door. For the green door, there's one right above the area where you get the free ether tool and or the vending machine for the Wonder Fizz. For the next one, it's going to be close by. Going to go to the left of this giant mushroom. You're going to see it visible from the green door looking forward. And then for the last one that's close by, it's going to be to the right of the mushroom, right here. This is definitely the hardest one out of the 3 to spot if you have it. Going out to the blue door now, we're going to go to the right here. I call this one VL. It's very visible right here. Going over to the yellow door, as soon as you enter from the yellow door, you're going to see this one floating on a tiny rock. For the next one, we're going to go to the vermin statue. Look above the vermin statue, you're going to see this one right here. And then finally, a possible spawn can be right above the parasite statue right here. With these symbols, you have to shoot them with the ice staff specifically in order to get them to lower, to show you what symbol they are. Once you have shot all 3, one of the doors that lead out of the Dark Aether will close shut with stones. You need to find that door and go to that door. Once you find your door, on this side you're going to see all the symbols you have before. On screen now, I'm going to leave all of the locations for each of the symbols, since these will be the exact same every time you get these symbols. If you want to write these down, go ahead and do so. Now, shooting 3 symbols in general will open the door. If you shoot your 3 correct symbols, they'll all be on the floor below you. However, if you shoot the wrong symbol, any wrong symbol for that matter, the door will open, there will be no symbols on the floor, and you go through the portal. The problem is you'll land beside the rock and plummet to the ground. I'm not certain if Freefaller can save you from this one at all. I think it's just an instant death if you fail. Just keep that in mind. Once you have successfully shot the correct symbols and the symbols are on the floor, you would then be teleported onto this rock I just spoke of, and then there will be a purple orb. Interact with the purple orb to start the upgrade. What's going to happen now is a chase section. This works similarly to the escort step from the Doc's main Easter egg step of Blood of the Dead, where you need to feed it constant souls in order to keep it moving. Another thing for this, you need to stay next to it. If you don't stay next to it, it will go up in the sky and then just dissipate. And then you have to flip around to continue the upgrade. On top of that, in co-op, if all players in the game are not next to this, it will do the same thing. If all players in the game are not in the Dark Aether when you start this, it'll do the same thing. Do you see my problem with this? Thank you, Treyarch. Anyway, if it does dissipate like this, don't worry, go back to one of the other doors that I will shut next round and shoot the exact same symbols you shot before. Nothing will change symbol-wise. You just need to go to a different door and shoot them again to start the process again. Now, for the path this orb takes, it starts right where you land and then goes to the left of the red door entry towards the waterfall. Take it all the way down to the yellow door and then it'll do a lap towards the blue door. Your goal is to simply follow it throughout everything that comes at you. I would mostly focus on the zombies. It doesn't take that many zombies to keep it moving. There will be special enemies too. Those are not as much a problem as an amalgam per se. But since your only goal is to worry about the zombies because it doesn't take that much to move, you can practically ignore the amalgams if you wanted to. All we need to do is follow this orb and fill it with some souls until it reaches the checkpoint, which is the area where you collected the staff. The moment it hits the pedestal, all zombies will disappear. And then all you need to do is take your ice staff, hold interact with the yellow orb, purple orb, and then you have the fully upgraded ice staff. And thank you for watching. Peace out.